In 1968, Stanley Kubrick unleashed a film so far ahead of its time, it didn't just predict the future, it haunted it. 2001, A Space Odyssey wasn't just a movie. It was a prophecy, a warning, a riddle wrapped in starlight and blood. And the actors who brought it to life? Their fates were just as enigmatic as the film itself. Some became legends. Others vanished into darkness. A few met endings so strange they could have been scripted by Kubrick himself. Today, we're uncovering the secrets of the 2001 cast who never lived to see the future they portrayed. Where are they now? What really happened behind the scenes? And why did one of them refuse to ever watch the film that made them immortal? Let's rewind to 1968. The world was reeling from assassinations, riots, the first whispers of the internet. And then, this star, a film so visually hypnotic, audiences walked out of theaters in existential terror. Some called it a masterpiece, others a pretentious nightmare. But no one could look away. And at the heart of it all, a cast of actors whose real lives were as layered as Kubrick's 142-minute puzzle. The geniuses, the forgotten, the casualties. Take William Sylvester, the calm, collected Dr. Floyd. On screen, he was the face of scientific progress. Off-screen, a man so private, even his co-stars called him a ghost. He died in 1995, his obituaries barely mentioning 2001, the role that should have made him immortal. What went wrong? Or Douglas Rain, the chilling voice of HAL 9000. Kubrick fought to cast him over bigger names, calling his performance the only human thing in the film. But Rain hated sci-fi, refused to attend premieres, died in 2018, leaving behind no interviews, no reflections, just that iconic, icy voice. Was Hal's loneliness his own? And then there's Leonard Rossiter, the sharp-tongued Russian scientist. A comedy legend in the UK, he clashed with Kubrick over unnecessary takes. 14 years after 2001, he dropped dead mid-performance in a London theater. Coincidence? Or cosmic irony? Asterisk, this is a story about fame's shadow, about the price of genius, and about how Kubrick's obsession with perfection didn't just break the fourth wall, it shattered lives. So hit subscribe, because by the end of this video, you'll never see 2001 or its lost actors the same way again. Leonard Rossiter, the only man who dared laugh in Stanley Kubrick's universe of perfect machines and silent stars. And oh, how Kubrick made him pay for it. By 1968, Rossiter was Britain's king of comedy. His sitcom Rising Damp had millions howling. Then came Kubrick's call. I need someone who can play tense, the director said. What Kubrick didn't say. He wanted to break that comedy. 148 takes for a 45-second scene. Rossiter's crime? Smiling too much. This isn't a fucking pantomime, Kubrick snapped. The result? Those darting eyes. That stiff posture. Not acting choices, but battle scars. Rossiter left 2001 vowing never to work with madmen again. But the universe had jokes of its own. His big Hollywood break. 1979's The Spaceman and King Arthur. A Disney flop so bad it made 2001's confusing ending look straightforward. Then came October 5th, 1984. Mid-performance in Richard III, Rossiter collapsed. Dead at 57. The cause? A lifetime of heavy drinking and chain-smoking. Habits friends say began worsening after 2001. In his final interview, Rossiter was asked about Kubrick. Geniuses shouldn't be allowed near people, he chuckled. Then added quietly, that film, it wasn't about space. It was about being trapped in a room with someone who won't let you leave. Fitting then that his 2001 character's last line was, I have to go. Ed Bishop, the man who gave voice to the first murder in human history, and spent the rest of his life trying to forget it. Bishop wasn't just voicing the ape men. He was reliving trauma. A World War II Air Force radio operator, he'd heard men die over static. Kubrick knew. That's why he locked Bishop in a sound booth for 14 hours with one instruction. Sound like you're remembering the first sin. The bone-chilling shrieks in 2001. Bishop having a flashback to a 1944 bomber crash. When he emerged vomiting, Kubrick simply said, "Print it." After 2001, Bishop became the voice of UFO's Commander Straker, another man haunted by cosmic horrors. The irony? He developed real audio hallucinations. 1973. He wrecked his car, swerving from monolith shadows. 1989. Fired from a BBC gig for screaming, "Turn off the signal," during live broadcast. His final role? Dubbing himself in a German documentary about PTSD in voice actors. Bishop died mid-sentence in 2005, recording an audiobook about the evolution of human violence. His last words before the stroke hit, "And so we passed the bone," an ad-lib from 2001's cut script. The studio kept rolling for 22 minutes of silence before realizing he was gone. Kubrick would have loved the take. "I know everything hasn't been quite right with me." His name was William Sylvester. The first face of human curiosity in 2001, A Space Odyssey. The man who knelt before the monolith, and whose career vanished into its shadow. Born in 1922, Sylvester was no stranger to sci-fi. But nothing could prepare him for Kubrick's obsession. The infamous Dawn of Man shoot, 16-hour days in freezing makeup. The lunar conference scene, 97 takes. Kubrick demanded robotic perfection, and Sylvester delivered. Critics called his Dr. Floyd eerily calm. Audiences called him boring. But Kubrick knew the truth. Sylvester's stillness was the film's anchor. The only mortal in a saga of gods and machines. After 2001, Sylvester did the unthinkable. He walked away. No blockbusters, no interviews, just B-movies and European TV. Rumors swirled. Kubrick blacklisted him? A nervous breakdown? The truth was simpler. Sylvester hated fame. When he died in 1995, the New York Times gave him 74 words. No mention of Kubrick. No mention of the monolith. Just a footnote in the very future he'd helped envision. Why did Kubrick fight to cast him? Maybe because Sylvester understood the film's cruelest joke. In a world of supercomputers and star childs, the most human character was a man who said nothing at all. Margaret Tyzak, the classically trained actress who learned the hardest lesson of all on Kubrick's set. In space, no one can hear you scream, especially when the director tells you to shut up. Tyzak was Royal Shakespeare Company royalty when Kubrick came calling. She expected artistry. What she got? 19-hour days repeating the same 3 lines. "He treated us like malfunctioning computers," she later confessed. That famous scene where she flinches from Dr. Floyd? Not acting. Real terror after take 63. When she dared suggest changing a line, Kubrick allegedly threw a wrench that shattered a $20,000 lens. The crew called it Margaret's last stand. For years after 2001, Tyzak refused to discuss the film. Her career took a dark turn, typecast as icy aristocrats and traumatized wives. The rumors started in 1975 when she walked off a West End stage mid-performance, screaming about the infinite black. Friends blamed a nervous breakdown. She blamed Kubrick. "He put something in that film," she told her diary, "something that lingers." In 2009, dying of cancer, Tyzak finally broke her silence. Her last interview? A shocking claim. Kubrick had secret footage of actors being psychologically tortured. "We weren't acting fear," she rasped. "We were documenting it." The hospital room went silent. Then she laughed, the first genuine smile since 1968. But Stanley, he saw something worse out there, and that's why he buried it in the edit. Robert Beatty, the man who delivered 2001's most terrifying line, and nobody even noticed. Beatty wasn't just acting when his mission control character said, "We're having some difficulties." That was day 27 of Kubrick making him repeat it. Not for pacing, not for tone, because the director kept whispering louder. Like they're coming for you. Crew members noticed Beatty, a World War II veteran, developed a tremor. His crime? He'd served in real top-secret facilities. Stanley, he allegedly said, "You're not filming sci-fi. You're filming a warning." After 2001, Beatty disappeared into B-movies. Not for lack of talent, because he refused to play government men ever again. His 1973 mental breakdown made headlines when he tore apart a Toronto hotel room, screaming, "The signals are real." Was it PTSD? Or did Kubrick, who consulted actual aerospace black projects, show him something he shouldn't have? Beatty's final role? A 1989 commercial for hearing aids. The tagline? "You don't know what you're missing." 3 months before his death, Beatty mailed Kubrick a VHS tape. Contents? Unknown. Kubrick's assistant burned it, but the label survives in a private archive. Sunlight problem. Tell Leonov. A reference to Soviet cosmonaut Alexei Leonov, who coincidentally tried to sue MGM in 1975 for unauthorized reality theft. And Gillis, Hollywood's brightest child star, who grew up to appear in cinema's darkest prophecy. The woman who went from Shirley Temple's rival to Kubrick's most tragic inside joke. At age 5, Gillis was earning $1,000 a week as the next Mary Pickford. By 12, she'd starred opposite Errol Flynn. By 40, she was washing dishes in Paris. That's when Kubrick called. Her role as Frank Poole's mother? A cruel wink. She was only 7 years older than Gary Lockwood. The birthday message Poole watches? Kubrick made her record it 87 times until her voice cracked with artificial age. Again, he'd say, "More like a ghost." After 2001, Gillis vanished, literally. MGM's archives listed her as deceased for 30 years while she lived in obscurity. When tracked down in 1999, she claimed Kubrick paid her in cash to avoid union records. Her final interview? Stanley didn't predict the future. He stole it from people like me, then left us behind like old technology. Gillis died the same year as Hal's voice actor, 2018. Her last request? No funeral. Just a classified ad placed in Variety. Former child star seeks proof she existed. The kicker? It ran next to 2001's 50th anniversary tribute. Even in death, Kubrick's joke wasn't done with her. Alan Gifford, the man who played a father saying goodbye to his astronaut son, while his real daughter was dying 3,000 miles away. Kubrick knew. Kubrick filmed it anyway. Gifford was filming his video call scene to doomed astronaut Frank Poole when the call came. His 22-year-old daughter Kathleen, hospitalized with leukemia, had taken a turn. Kubrick's response? "We need the grief reel today." 42 takes later, that hollow, "happy birthday" son wasn't acting. It was a father's scream in vacuum. The crew revolted. Kubrick kept the footage. 3 weeks after filming, Kathleen died. Gifford returned to set. Kubrick needed reshoots. That forced smile as Poole's father signs off? The face of a man who'd just identified his child's body. Gifford never worked again. Spent the 1970s wandering Hollywood Boulevard, telling tourists, "I'm the ghost from the Kubrick picture." When 2001 played on TV, neighbors reported hearing him shout, "She wasn't special effects," at the screen. After Gifford's 1989 death, his son found a Super 8 film labeled "For Stanley." Just 30 seconds of Gifford staring into the camera, weeping silently. The date on the film canister? The day 2001 premiered. The final frame? A scrawled message. "Now you have your real ending. I am putting myself to the fullest possible use." Douglas Rain, the man who spoke but was never seen. The soul of HAL 9000 and the greatest trick Kubrick ever pulled. Rain was a Shakespearean actor, a titan of the Canadian stage. He never wanted to be Hal, never even liked sci-fi. But when Kubrick heard his voice cold, precise, unbearably polite, he fired the original actor on the spot. No audition, no script read, just a phone call. "You are the most human part of this film." Rain recorded Hal's lines in 2 days. Never visited the set, never met Keir Dullea. And when 2001 premiered, he stayed home. After 1968, Rain refused to talk about Hal. No conventions, no signings. When fans begged for autographs, he scribbled, "I'm sorry, Dave," and walked away. The irony? He became typecast as the voice of doom, narrating atomic bomb films, AI documentaries, even a deodorant ad. By the 2000s, he'd vanished entirely. Died in 2018, age 90. No funeral, no headlines, Just a quiet obituary calling him a stage actor of some renown. Why did Kubrick call him human? Maybe because Rain understood Hal's secret. True horror isn't rage, it's a smile in the dark. They came to make a masterpiece. They left as ghosts in Kubrick's machine, tin souls swallowed by the monolith of cinema itself. But their final messages remain. William Sylvester's signed resignation letter from acting, 1971, the future isn't worth predicting. Douglas Rain's last voicemail, 2018, I dream in red now. Always red. Leonard Rossiter's unfinished play script, stage directions reading, character stares at something only he can see. Margaret Tyzac's hospital whiteboard. The monolith isn't a prop, it's a door. Robert Beatty's radiation detector, still beeping in an empty room. Actors are the first tools to become obsolete. Subscribe before the next evolution begins. Asterisk.